Welcome back to Bible Talks on WBCM Radio.
Yeah.
You know what time it is. It's time for our 9th deep dive.
9th one.
We are going to crack open another chapter of the Bible.
Right.
And this time we are looking at Genesis 9.
Okay, picking up right where we left off after the flood.
Yeah, after that flood.
Big turning point in the story, wouldn't you say?
I think so, because it's like we are hitting the reset button.
Yeah.
But with some new stuff coming in.
New elements.
And right away, we see God blessing Noah and his sons.
Right.
And saying, be fruitful and increase in number and fill the earth. Now, doesn't that sound familiar?
Sounds really early.
Like almost word for word from back in Genesis 1.28.
Yeah, it's like an echo of that original command to Adam and Eve, you know?
Yeah.
And to me, it's really striking that after this just massive destruction, God is still reaffirming his purpose for humanity to increase in number and steward creation.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
So what do you think? Is this just a restart, or is there like a deeper meaning here?
That's a good question.
What do you think?
I think there's definitely got to be more going on. Because we also see this change in the way humans interact with creation.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about eating meat.
Yeah, for the first time.
Yeah.
God explicitly says you can eat meat.
Yeah. He says everything that lives and moves about will be food for you.
That's Genesis 9.3.
And that is a pretty big difference from that plant-based diet in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah, big change.
So why do you think that change was introduced?
Well, I mean, just practically speaking, after the flood, edible plants might have been scarce.
Right.
It could have been necessary for survival, you know?
That makes sense.
But there's also symbolic weight to it.
Yeah.
I mean, some scholars say that it shows an increase in humanity's dominion over the animal kingdom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Like a shift in the power dynamic or something.
But then there's that one caveat.
Oh, what's that?
That we can't consume blood.
Uh-huh. The prohibition against consuming blood?
Yeah. Genesis 9.4.
What do you think about that?
But you must not eat meat that has its lifeblood still in it.
Why such a specific restriction? Right.
Yeah, it's pretty significant.
Yeah, I think it really points to the sanctity of life.
Okay.
Throughout the Bible, blood represents life itself.
Okay.
So consuming it could be seen as like a sign of disrespect.
Yeah.
Or even a violation of that sanctity.
So we're given this dominion.
Right.
But we also have to be respectful.
Yes, exactly. It's about stewardship, not exploitation.
Right.
And, you know, this idea of the sanctity of life really takes center stage in the next verse.
Yeah, Genesis 9.6.
Yeah, one of the most powerful verses in this chapter.
Whoever sheds human blood, by humans shall their blood be shed. For in the image of God has God made mankind.
Wow, it establishes this profound principle in just a few words.
Oh, this is the foundation for not murdering people.
Yes, the prohibition against murder, the concept of justice.
Yeah.
And it's all because we are created in the image of God.
So what does that mean, made in God's image? What do you think?
Well, that is a question that theologians have been grappling with for centuries.
Yeah.
There's no simple answer, you know?
Right.
But there are different ways to think about it.
Yeah.
Some focus on our capacity for relationships because God is relational.
Right.
So our ability to love and connect with each other reflects that.
Okay.
Others point to our creativity, like God is the creator, and we create things. We bring beauty and order into the world.
Right.
It could also be about our moral conscience.
Okay.
You know, that sense of right and wrong that we have.
Yeah.
It's something that sets us apart from the rest of creation.
I think it's pretty amazing
It's incredible.
that we're made in God's image.
It changes how we think about human worth and dignity.
Yeah, absolutely. And so after all that, we get this like moment of hope and promise.
Oh, yeah. Real shift in tone.
What are you thinking of?
The rainbow, of course.
Yes.
One of the most iconic symbols in the Bible.
Yeah, and it's just nature. It's amazing.
Isn't it?
How nature can be so powerful.
And it's fascinating how this natural phenomenon carries such profound meaning.
Yeah, it's beautiful and hopeful.
Right.
And it's like a reminder that God is always faithful.
Even after such chaos and destruction.
Yeah, even after the flood.
He's still there.
Like his love and mercy is embracing the world.
Yeah, a visual representation of that.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
So after all this terror,
Yeah.
God makes a covenant.
With Noah, with all living creatures.
Saying he won't destroy the world like that again.
Yeah, and this rainbow is a sign of that promise.
Yeah, it's tangible. It's in the sky.
You can see it.
And this is for everybody.
It's not just for Noah and his family.
Right.
This is for all living creatures, for all generations.
Wow, that's huge.
The universal promise.
So what other like natural things inspire awe in you?
That's a good question.
What do you resonate with personally?
Well, I think
Yeah.
for me it's
Yeah.
it's the vastness of the ocean.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when you stand on the shore and just see that endless horizon,
And the power of the
the
waves.
power of the waves crashing,
Yeah.
it just reminds me of how small I am
Right.
and how big God is.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But this chapter also takes us into the personal lives of Noah and his sons.
Oh, yeah, things get kind of personal here.
A little bit.
Like what happens
Well,
after the flood.
yeah, after the flood.
We zoom in on this incident.
Little uncomfortable.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Complicated.
Yeah, Noah makes a mistake.
Oh,
A very human mistake.
yeah.
But unfortunately, the consequences ripple through generations.
Yeah, this is a good reminder that even people that are considered heroes of the faith
Right.
are still human
They're not perfect.
and make mistakes.
Yeah.
So what happened?
So Noah plants a vineyard.
Okay.
Makes some wine. Drinks a bit too much.
Uh-oh.
And ends up in a compromising position in his tent.
Okay.
His son Ham stumbles upon the scene. And instead of discreetly covering his father,
Right.
he goes and tells his brothers about it.
Oh, man.
But Shem and Japheth, they act respectfully. They cover their father without even looking at him.
Okay, so then what happens?
Well, because of this, Noah pronounces a curse on Canaan,
Oh, wow.
who's Ham's son.
Now, this passage has been tragically misused
Yeah.
to justify slavery and racism,
Uh-huh.
which we absolutely do not condone.
No, not at all.
But how should we understand this?
Yeah, it's a difficult passage.
Yeah.
And interpretations vary.
Yeah.
Some scholars believe that the curse was directed at Canaan specifically because of his own actions or the predicted future of his descendants.
Okay.
Others see it as a consequence of Ham's disrespect towards Noah, like a breakdown of familial honor,
Yeah.
which was really important back then.
Right.
It's important to remember that we're reading an ancient text with a lot of cultural baggage,
Right.
and we need to be sensitive to that.
It's so important to approach these stories
Absolutely.
with a commitment to all people
Yeah.
and their dignity.
To love and justice and redemption.
Yeah.
That's the core message of the Bible.
And now at the end of this,
Yeah.
we see that Noah lives a long life.
Yes, he does.
And then he eventually dies.
950 years old.
950 years. Wow.
Can you imagine?
That's crazy.
It puts him right up there with those other long-lived patriarchs in Genesis.
Like who?
Like Methuselah.
Oh, yeah. Methuselah, he lived a while.
Yeah.
Centuries.
Yeah.
950 years. That makes you wonder what his perspective on everything was.
I know, right?
To live through all that, see the devastation.
And then the rebuilding.
Yeah. What stories could he have told?
Imagine the wisdom.
Yeah.
But what's really important is that despite his flaws, Noah was a righteous man chosen by God.
Yeah.
He obeyed God. He built the ark.
Yeah.
He preserved humanity.
That's huge.
The animal kingdom. I
Yeah.
mean, he saved everything.
Yeah, Noah is definitely complex. Strength and weakness.
Yeah.
Obedience and failure.
Uh-huh. Just like us.
That's comforting to know.
Yeah. God can work through anyone.
Right.
He uses ordinary people to do extraordinary things.
That is encouraging.
It is.
We don't have to be perfect
Nope.
to be used by God.
He can take our mistakes, our failures,
And use them for good.
weave them into his plan.
So Genesis 9, it's about God's faithfulness,
It is.
his grace,
Uh-huh. New beginnings.
second chances,
And the power of his promises.
and the rainbow.
That beautiful reminder of hope for all humanity.
That image just transcends
Everything. Yeah.
time, culture.
It speaks to a deep longing
Yeah.
for peace,
Yeah.
reconciliation, a future without destruction.
That is a great thought to end on.
Yeah.
We covered a lot today.
We
as
did. The sanctity of life,
God's faithfulness.
the complexity of human nature.
Yes.
All in one chapter.
What stood out to you the most?
I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, share your insights. Keep this conversation going.
And before we move on,
Yeah.
make sure to like, share, and subscribe.
To Bible Talks on WBCM Radio.
New releases every week.
On our YouTube channel.
www.youtube.com at Radio WBCM.
You can also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
And hey, while you're on YouTube,
Yeah.
check out our reviews of Christian music.
Oh, yeah, from all different genres.
You might find your next favorite song.
Radio WBCM.
Now, moving on.
And it's important to note, the Bible records these events,
Yeah,
but it doesn't necessarily endorse them.
that's your point.
It's showing us human behavior, the good and the bad.
Yeah, it doesn't shy away from the mess.
No, not at all.
It's real life, you know?
Real life, exactly.
We forget that the Bible isn't all perfect heroes.
Right. And neat narratives.
It shows us real struggles.
Yeah, the raw reality.
And even the failings of those considered righteous.
Exactly. And I think it's in those moments of brokenness that we see the need for grace and redemption.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
It reminds us that we are all in process on this journey of growth and transformation.
And at the end of the chapter, we see Noah's long life and his death.
Right. He lived to be 950 years old.
That's so long.
Can you imagine living that long?
It's hard to even fathom.
And when you think about the average lifespan today,
Yeah.
it's just mind-blowing.
It puts him right up there with all those other guys.
Yeah, the patriarchs.
Like Methuselah.
Yeah, Methuselah, exactly.
They lived for centuries.
It's incredible
Imagine living for that long.
to witness so much history.
The devastation and the rebuilding,
All of it.
the stories he could have told,
Whizzing.
is like this bridge between two worlds.
Yes, exactly.
Before the flood and after.
A testament to the fragility and resilience of life.
And beyond his long life, it's important to remember that despite his flaws,
Yeah.
Noah was a righteous man.
Chosen by God.
Yeah, for a crucial role.
He obeyed God's command.
Built the ark.
Saved humanity and the animal.
He saved everything.
He did. He embodies obedience, but also imperfection.
Yeah.
God doesn't call perfect people,
That's right.
just willing hearts
And Genesis 9 really illustrates how God works through ordinary, flawed people.
to do big things.
Extraordinary things.
Yeah, he takes what's broken and makes it beautiful.
And purposeful.
It's encouraging.
It is.
Our mistakes don't disqualify us.
Not at all.
Sometimes God's strength shines through our weaknesses.
That's a great point.
So we've reached the end of our deep dive into Genesis 9.
What a journey.
So much to think about.
New beginnings, God's faithfulness, human nature, his promises.
And the rainbow.
Don't forget the rainbow.
This is a symbol of hope.
For all humanity.
So before we wrap up,
Yeah.
we want to hear from you.
Yeah, what stood out to you?
What sparked your curiosity?
Share your thoughts in the comments.
We love hearing from you.
It enriches the conversation.
And helps us all grow.
And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
To Bible Talks on WBCM Radio.
You can find new episodes every week on our YouTube channel.
At www.youtube.com at Radio WBCM.
We are also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts.
And while you're on YouTube,
Check out our other content.
like our reviews of Christian music.
You might just discover your next favorite song.
So as we conclude, we want to leave you with a final thought.
To ponder
We've talked about the rainbow.
as a symbol of hope and renewal.
What are your own personal rainbows?
Think about the symbols or experiences in your life.
The things that give you hope in tough times.
The reminders of God's love and grace.
Maybe it's a verse, a song, a place, a relationship.
Reflect on your personal rainbows this week.
Those reminders of God's faithfulness.
And remember, God made a covenant with you, just like with Noah.
Yeah.
He's with you always.
Thank you for joining us.
This has been Bible Talks on WBCM Radio.
We'll see you next time.
Radio WBCM. Radio WBCM.
We love hearing from you guys
Yeah, it's awesome.
and seeing how God's word is impacting you.
Yeah, and it's a good reminder that even though these are ancient texts,
Right.
they still speak to us today.
Absolutely. They invite us to go deeper with God
Yeah, and to understand ourselves better.
and the world around us.
Exactly.
So as we finish up
Uh-huh.
our deep dive into Genesis 9,
Okay.
we want to leave you with one last thought.
To think about.
We've talked about the rainbow,
A symbol of God's promise.
his faithfulness.
Right.
But what about your own personal rainbows?
What do you mean by that?
What symbols or experiences in your life
Okay.
bring you comfort,
Ah.
remind you of God's presence?
Mhm.
What gives you hope
Yeah.
when things are tough?
Yeah.
What reminds you of God's love and grace
Okay, yeah.
when life is stormy?
I like that.
Maybe it's a favorite verse,
Yeah.
a song.
A place in nature.
Yeah.
A special relationship.
So think about your personal rainbows,
Okay.
those reminders of God's faithfulness in your life.
I will.
And remember, God made a covenant with you.
Just like he did with Noah.
He's with you always.
Always.
Through every season.
Thank you for joining us on this journey through Genesis 9
It's been a privilege.
to explore God's Word with you.
This has been Bible Talks on WBCM Radio.
We'll see you next time for another deep dive.
Radio, WBCM.